Hello YouTube, I'm Toby. And this is my Sunday project. This is an old PS3 that I got from my brother. The only reason I got his PS3 is because when I was out traveling a few years ago he sold my PS2 to get it. I wasn't really mad that he sold my PS2 because I really didn't use it, but it'd still be nice to have one. But what I am doing today is pretty much trying to refurbish this old PS3. I'm still missing some parts for it, so I probably won't get it working anytime soon. But I figured it might be a nice project while I wait for the final parts of my Lenovo T61P. Now, in order to get these annoying stickers off, I'm using some rubbing alcohol just to loosen it, and I can take it off with my fingers. Although it'll end up looking like this, and I'll have to do something about that a little bit later. But for right now, this is pretty much what my day is going to be about. Now, something else I noticed is that this system is very dusty on the inside. I had the hard drive out just to take a look at it, and I could definitely feel the dust in the air, so we're gonna have to do something about that as well. I don't know if I'll ever get this thing up and running completely, since I do need controllers and games for it. But I don't really care about that. Right now I just want this thing to look nice, and we can focus on the working part of it later. I'm not planning on selling this, if you are wondering about that. I just want a nice PS3 standing around. Yay, I'm pretty much halfway through this removal of stickers. As you can see, it's still very rough and sticky up here, but hopefully that will go away fairly easily. Now, if you're wondering what this means, "det er for wild," pretty much just means that it's too wild. I think my brother thought this was cool to put on here, but it's definitely too wild to get off again. So far so good. I managed to get the vast majority of the orange stuff off. There's still some bits and pieces left that I'll have to take care of later, but for right now it's looking good. The only problem is that there is a very hefty smell of propane, well, I don't know what kind of alcohol, rubbing alcohol in the air, and it's giving me a weird feeling, so I think this may be a good time to stop with the rubbing alcohol. Now, next off, I thought we'd take this thing apart. Now, the hard drive is down here. There's a little door right here one can take off. Yeah, it's right here. That's the hard drive. Let's take it out. See all that dust? I mean, this system is very dusty, and we're definitely gonna have to do something about that. Now, we've only just gotten the cover off, and you can clearly see that this thing has accumulated years worth of dust. But I'm gonna continue taking parts off, and we'll get a better look at the internals of the PS3. I got the motherboard out, and as you can see here, we have our two processors. These are still covered in thermal paste, and I managed to clean the heat sinks. I'm not going to take the shrouds off the motherboard. I don't want to mess anything up in there, but I am going to clean off the processors, clean off the heat sinks, take the heat sinks and the fan out and clean those, and one of these days when I get a large amount of thermal paste, I'm going to put this thing back together again, and hopefully it will be running smooth and functioning. Alright, so these are heat sinks. They're actually not that dirty. I thought there'd be a lot more dust in here, but they're actually quite clean. And right here we have our fan. It's a very large fan, and it looks very powerful. It is a little dirty, so I'll have to blow it out somewhere. And here we seem to have our two most popular heat-producing chips in this system. We have a cell broadband engine and a RSX engine. I'm not entirely sure which is which, but it's not really important right now. What is important is that we're going to take the dusty power supply apart. I think this will only be the second time I've ever taken a power supply apart, so it is going to be interesting. Alright, so in hindsight I probably should have opened this thing up outside. The minute I opened it up, there's a huge cloud of dust everywhere, so I might have to vacuum later. But anyway, this right here is the main board for the power supply, and as you can see, it is quite dusty, so I'm gonna have to go out and do something about that. And just like that, the power supply is practically free of dust. And I'm gonna close this thing up in a minute, but first I want to revisit our two processors over here, because I did some research, and from what I could gather, the cell broadband engine is the CPU, and from what I can gather, this says 9 cores and 10 threads, and that this is our some type of NVIDIA graphics chip. Those are the things I could kind of gather about these. I'm still not gonna take the shroud off. I don't want to risk messing anything up on the main board. I think it's I don't think the dust in there is a problem. It's just in the power supply and the heat sinks that I was concerned about it, but shortly I should be able to put this system back together. So I am just about done with this project. All that's really left is to try and plug it in and see if it actually works. You know, in hindsight, I probably should have tested it out before I started cleaning it, but it was kind of an impulse project. And it seems nothing is really happening. Maybe back here. Maybe I should switch it on first. Got a little red light down here. Well, the fan is starting up. Let's see if we get any. Yeah, we have got a signal. PlayStation 3, so it is working. Photos. Okay. Well, it's definitely working. I don't have a controller for it, so how about that? Well, there are already profiles on here, so I should probably see if I can delete these before I sell this system. That might actually be a good idea. There's got to be some way to reset it to factory settings, but yeah, the system seems to be working. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.